All right. Well, welcome everyone. This is Trish and
Susie.
Susie, and this is Two Hags Chinwag podcast.
Yay.
And it's been what, a month or so, I think, since our last one.
It's been a bit. Yeah, I just gotta grab a pillow here because I'm old and my back is sore. Sorry about that. You been ready? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you want to tell us what our topic is? Because I'm pretty excited.
Well, the topic is um about what is it about? It's sorry. I can't see myself, so I can't tell what I look like. Um, it's about hexing,
We're so vain. Yes. Hexing.
hexing,
Yeah.
smashing the patriarchy, um, uh, talking about what matriarchy would look like. Um, where do witches fit in that? Yeah, I just feel like this is going to be a bit of a free for all. And it was funny because normally this is something I feel like it's kind of up my alley, but then like Susie sent me a text and she was like, "This is what I want to talk about," and I'm like, "Yeah." she's
I'm
like,
converted.
she's like, "I'm tired of the patriarchy," and I was like, "Yeah." So yeah, so anyway, so that's what we're talking about. So what inspired you to send me that text, and like what's been
You,
going on?
well, you know what? It's this whole Epstein thing. And I
Uh,
hate to get on that bandwagon because it's just so overwhelming, but I'm so flabbergasted, and I shouldn't be, but I am just at the size and the scope and the depravity and the just the acceptance that this type of behavior, like these men have gotten away with this for so long. And obviously women have been involved, because
yeah.
Ghislaine or whatever her name is, she was right there too, and lots of women were complicit. But what got me thinking is, why didn't we know? And do we care? Did we care? Did we care to know? Like, it's so horrifying. Did we really want to know? But now it's in our face. So now that it's in my face, now I'm
Mhm.
angry.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It and I keep going back to my monthly tarot readings, but that's basically what the message of this yearly tarot meeting reading is. It's that um it's in your face now, and we're not in a position anymore to, and I don't want to sound like I'm belittling it, or and that's not the word, but we can't put our heads in the sand anymore. And I'm not saying that that's what we did before, but maybe a little bit. Do you know what I
Yes,
mean?
I absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like it's kind of like back in the 70s, or 80s. I would say 70s more than the 80s, but back in the 70s, it, you and I could walk to school and not be, you know, worried about things so much.
Hmm.
However, is that really true? Because,
I
you
know,
know,
right?
is it just because, well, we didn't know about things back then because, hello, serial killers in the 70s, right? Or
Hmm.
serial
Hmm.
rapists. And so it's always been there, but we weren't given all this information, especially at this rate that we're
Hmm.
that we're receiving information now. And before we could say, well, it's rare that this happens, but now it's like now we're seeing it's not only is it not rare, it's commonplace amongst a lot of men in power, and then a lot of men, period. you know
Well, yeah, because we had the church scandal first, right?
yeah.
So, when we were going to church, you and I, and this is what was happening to the altar boys and the altar girls, and
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, if you were in after school programs or any kind of church related activities or like the Boy Scouts, whatever. It was so rampant, but
Yeah.
also it was very hush hush.
Yeah.
And that's not just abuse, that was sex in general.
Yes.
Everything was hush hush, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, everyone was doing it. And I'm talking about adults and teenagers. Everybody was doing it. We didn't talk
Hmm.
about it. But we, like, just the sheer amount of pedophiles in operation was
Yeah.
double hush hush, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And,
cheese and rice.
and a lot of times too, back then, you almost laughed about it, like, oh, you're a choir boy, you know what I mean,
Yes.
or you're an altar boy or whatever. Like those things.
It was almost accepted, wasn't it? Like the
y-
cabin boy on the ship, right? The cabin boy was
Yeah.
everybody's little plaything.
Yeah. 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 It was just something that I think it was so uncomfortable that everybody either joked about it or
Mm,
pretended it didn't happen.
yeah.
But now we're just well, now we're seeing the consequences of that because of people being their lives absolutely ruined, um, traumatized beyond.
Suicide, you know,
What's
like a lot
that?
suicides.
Yeah, suicide. Like, yeah, so much damage has been done that we now, and because of the information age, we can't ignore it, nor can we
Mm,
laugh at it anymore or laugh.
mm,
It's not something that um, we can we can just say, oh, it just rarely happens. Well,
mm.
honest to God, like every woman that I know has been harassed in some form or another,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and so I think the whole movement right now against the patriarchy is such a great thing.
Hmm.
Um, and I think like witchcraft is a big component to that movement.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. I think anything that gives us back our power, not that we ever lost our power, but it allows us to be more front and center and more vocal and more mainstream now
Mm-hmm.
with witchcraft, right?
Yes.
Whereas before, again, we had to operate in the shadows and behind the scenes you know, and it was
Yeah.
made fun of, as it still is.
Yeah.
I encounter that all the time, people making fun of me.
Yeah.
But it's just, it gives me hope and it gives me strength knowing that there are other people out there operating from the same place we are, which is, you know, a place of sovereignty, a place of strength, a place of empowerment.
Yeah.
And I don't need to run naked in the woods chanting in the moonlight.
Yeah.
I will if I want to. But there's so many things that we can do, and we'll get into that too as we go along. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just super, I've been looking forward to this podcast, and things have happened and gotten pushed around and stuff, but here
Yeah.
we are. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm revved up.
Yeah. Yeah. I see like um, people getting tired of holding this. I don't know.
Yes.
It just flops. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to pick up my voice or not. Um, I see people that I follow on Instagram that never really claim to be, witches or anything like that before. But I'm seeing all of a sudden, you know, they're posting stuff like, the um, like the matriarchy, like bring back the matriarchy, and they're claiming themselves as witches,
Mm,
and I just think, wow, that's so interesting because I'm seeing that more and more out of just regular people that I've been following because they're local and they're homesteaders, and I'm always interested in that subject. So, and now suddenly they're claiming they're witches and they're feminists and they're, and I'm like, that's so cool. Like I'm just seeing
Mm,
such a growth in that. And of course, like, your algorithm's going to show you what you're interested in.
mhm.
So, that can be a bit contorted. So, and I just completely gave up on following the other side, as I like to
Ah,
call it. I completely stopped doing that because
yeah.
I was so angered and so
Mm,
disheartened by
mm,
the stupidity that I was seeing,
yeah.
that I was like, as much as I want to have information as to what's going on over there in
Mhm.
their realm, um, I can't do it anymore. I just
Yeah.
I can't, because it just really fucked with my head. Like I just
Yeah.
didn't I so so I knowing all that, I realize that my algorithm is feeding me what I want. So to me, it looks like more women are claiming, witchcraft or empowerment. It doesn't even have to be a witchcraft, but their own, like you say, sovereignty, and they're yelling from the rooftops about, feminism and all that stuff. Um, to me, it looks like that's growing, but I don't know for sure because of,
Mhm.
like I said, it tells me what I want to see, right?
Yeah, but regardless, there are people doing it,
Absolutely
or you wouldn't
agree.
be getting those messages at
Yeah.
all, right? So
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, we always have to be discerning when it comes to the information that we're getting through social media, right?
yeah.
And I say it all the time, like fact check, do your research, just make sure that what you're seeing is coming from a real person and not, you know, AI generated or bots or whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So in this, um, I don't know, energized feeling you have, like what do you want to do about it? Like um, what is your action plan, or do you even have an action plan? Is is it like do you have a physical plan where you want to speak out more about it or write about it or go march in the streets, or do you want to do it more on a spiritual level, or a little bit of both, or what?
That's interesting. I hadn't really thought of it in terms of an action plan because I'm a Taurus and we don't usually get going until something really riles us up. So, um, I think, more on a spiritual plane and also being supportive, like this whole believe her, if a woman tells you a story, believe her.
Mhm.
So I'll just share a quick story because this has never left my mind my whole life. When I was in my 20s and I was going to university, there was a girl in my class and she lived in a rural community. And so um, she would sometimes get drives with people or whatever. And someone in a position of authority offered her a drive. And he said, I'll pick you up at the end of the weekend. So he picked her up. And on the way back, he pulled over and said, it's time for you to pay for your drive.
Mm.
And good for her. She said, no, I'll get out. And he said he drove her and didn't assault her. And she was very lucky, I thought. Anyway, she told us this story and we were just kind of looking at each other, right? Because, we were 19-year-old kids, in a university class together, and we're just kind of looking at each other like, is this story for real? Like, did this man really do that? Like, we found it hard to believe, right? And I always felt bad about that. And now, today, knowing what we know,
Mhm.
I'm 100% sure that was a true story.
Yeah.
And so that's really made me more aware. Like, I want I want to believe instead of dismissing it because that's just too much to think about. Like that's unbelievable. It's so believable. So I want to be more of an ally for whoever comes into my stratosphere and tells me a story, or, you know, I want to give them support and believe them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Now, see, I've always been someone who believed those stories, I think.
Mm.
I mean, I've lived enough of it that
Hmm.
I feel like to me to me it seemed absolutely, but I'm always a distrusting person anyway, in the sense of
Hmm.
like I guess I always expect the worst. So if somebody tells
Mm.
me that the worst happens happened to them, I totally believe it, because that's
Yeah.
where that's been a lot of my experience in life. So
Hmm.
to have um yeah, and I've had so many experiences like
Hmm.
that. I just like, yeah, totally believe it. And the
Hmm.
interesting thing is, it's interesting because like Katie's younger than I am, right? She's like
Hmm.
16 years younger than I am. And I always find it interesting when we talk about stuff like this, because um, her perspective is much more that millennial perspective of um, very, they have a lot of information, and they're also very in touch with feelings, right?
Hmm.
Because they're that's how they were raised, by a lot of them by their parents. Like if
Hmm.
Felicia was alive, she would have been a millennial, and
Hmm.
we taught them about mental health and all this stuff, right? So so when yeah, this is going to sound like I'm arguing for this fucking idiot, but I'm not. When Trump said, grab her by the pussy,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And then later on said, oh, it's just locker room talk.
Hmm.
Katie's and normal people's reaction is, that's unacceptable. Whereas mine, I was, because I um, grew up in a different time,
Hmm.
to me it was like, yeah, men talk like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
The men, yeah, and it is just locker room talk. And it that was my reaction to it. It
Hmm.
was like it's just it's just stupid men talking out their
Hmm.
asses, right? And
Right? Like I remember one time, I probably would have been in my 30s, my uncle slapped me on the ass.
oh yeah,
And I just turned and I said, don't ever, right? But there was a time when, like, even when I worked in the bar business,
yes,
guys felt entitled to slap you on the ass,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But imagine doing that to a millennial
yeah.
and see what happens, right? That's not going to be accepted. But I remember
No,
I told my dad, and dad was furious. Now
really.
this was my aunt's, my maternal aunt's husband, and dad and I weren't keen on him anyway. Just he always was kind of gross. But I I know that if I had been younger, I wouldn't have said anything.
Yeah,
But even in my 30s, I knew that that was unacceptable. But my God, like just imagine happening today. So
yeah,
some guys feeling like he could slap you on the ass,
yeah,
unless it was invited. So,
yeah, yeah.
and
That's a
again,
different story.
making a joke out of it. But
Yeah,
really, like I was so incensed and so offended, and
yeah,
my dad was just like, you know,
yeah.
like he knew that was wrong, right?
Right.
But
Yeah,
why are you so gross? It's like,
yeah.
why are they like that?
I don't know. And going back to things, I don't know if sharing too much here, but like at one point, I I was molested by a man, an older man. I was 15 and
Mm,
he was like, I don't know how old he was.
mm,
And I told my father about it. This was when I was living with my father in
mm,
Sept-Îles. I told
mm.
my father about it and he laughed. He thought it was
Oh,
funny.
oh
So
dear.
I just expected, I just
Mm,
always, you just kind of figure that's acceptable. If your own
mm,
father thinks, oh, it's just boys being boys or
mm.
men being men because he was a man. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that was the what I grew up with, the mentality that I grew up with, the society that I grew up in. So the fact that you had a father that was mad about that, I'm
Hmm.
so glad to hear that.
Oh,
That Earl was such a good man.
yes, there was never anything sketchy about dad. But it's just the fact that the onus was always on us as
Yes.
women and
Yeah.
girls.
Yeah.
You always had to be on guard. It was up
Oh
to us, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Like it was our fault if something
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
And I remember when I worked at the Celtic Lodge, which was singularly the most horrible experience of my life. And I know a lot of people loved it there, but my God, it was horrendous. Um, and I didn't know what date rape was. We didn't have a word for it back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
But a couple times I got really drunk and a guy took advantage of me, and I didn't want it, but you didn't really have much of a choice, right? So it was
Yeah.
just like it's your fault for getting drunk, and some guy
Yes.
ended up on top of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't think about it until
Yeah.
years later when I heard the term date rape, and I went, "Is that what happened to me?"
Yeah, exactly.
Like it wasn't a violent experience, it wasn't a horrific experience. Certainly, I know that that has happened to a lot of women, so I don't want anyone to think that I'm putting it into a lighter frame. I'm just saying it was non-consensual,
Yes.
but I felt like it was my fault
Yeah.
for getting drunk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've had similar non-consensual, not drunk though, just
Oh dear.
non-consensual.
Mm,
But I blame myself for inviting him in. Do you know what I mean?
mm, mhm,
And yeah, like I mean, every woman I know pretty much has had this experience. So the more I'm reading, like you said, the Epstein files, and the more we're getting hit with this, the more enraged I am about what's happening in the world now and what happened in the world since the beginning of time, pretty much,
mhm.
when
Yes.
men became men, you know,
Mhm.
and women were always
Always.
scared,
Yeah.
scared, always. And I'm sick of that.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it. Why do we have to be scared because you can't keep your fucking dick in your pants?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And no, yeah, I'm mad about it.
It's
I'm,
weaponized, right? Like it was always a spoil of war.
yeah,
That the conquering men raped all the women and killed the
yeah,
men, and
yeah,
you know
yeah,
like you said, it's always been that way, but that
yeah,
it's still happening.
yeah,
Trish, it's like it's happening in Iran,
yes,
right? Like it's mind-boggling to me. Why are we accepting this?
yeah,
Why is it okay for a man to subjugate a woman like all
yeah,
of the time? It's so
yeah,
horrible. And I'm God, like, my dad was wonderful, my partner is wonderful. So I hate painting everybody with the same brush. But so a friend of mine transitioned from female to male, and he said the way that men talk, because like now he's in the boys club, right?
yes,
He is just like shocked at the level, like just the sheer level of misogyny.
really,
And like you said, is it locker room talk?
yeah,
Like where's that line between the
yeah, yeah,
beating the chest caveman and
yeah,
putting that into action,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But he said that testosterone is the most powerful force that there is,
Uh,
right? Like it's changed him obviously physically, but
yeah.
it's changed him mentally and spiritually as well.
So, oh, that's interesting. What a really cool conversation that would be
Hmm.
to have. Um, so did he say like he relates more to that kind of talk?
Yeah.
Really?
But not in the way that he would ever, like he stays quiet, like he doesn't engage in it. It's just around him, right? And
Right.
he's witness to it, but he doesn't feel like he needs to say, yeah, you can grab him by the pussy.
No, but does he understand why they do that
Yes.
more?
Yes.
Because of testosterone.
Yes.
So, okay, here's an argument that's always crossed my mind because, we always say that, why should we change our ways for men because they can't keep it in their pants, right?
Hmm.
Why
Hmm.
should we dress modestly? Why should we not be able to walk out in the dark and not be afraid? Why? Because men can't control themselves.
Hmm.
So when I hear the testosterone um, argument there, which is something, I've always had in the back of my head. So when I'm in menopause now, but when I had periods and my hormones, because of estrogen, were way out of whack, and I would like be a cranky bitch, right? Or
Hmm.
whatever, or an overly emotional whatever.
Hmm.
And I would expect at the time, I would expect my husband
Hmm.
to behave a certain way to not trigger me. So why
Right.
doesn't that argument work the opposite?
Right. Yeah.
And I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that we should be dressing more modestly and we shouldn't be walking alone at night because of men's hormones, but we also demanded men to behave a certain way around us because of our hormones. So
Yeah. But I never raped anyone while I was PMSing.
true. That's very true.
I might have wanted to kill somebody, but I
Yeah,
didn't.
but you didn't. You're
Yeah.
right. That's the argument right there. Yeah, because we didn't go to those extremes of harming somebody. I mean, we might have traumatized the men a little bit with our moods, but I'm pretty sure they could get over it pretty quickly.
Well, that's the other thing my friend said is that he doesn't react the same way to emotions, right? So, as a female, if another female was crying, that invokes a reaction in us. But now, as a male with testosterone, when a female is crying or being emotional, there's way less reaction to it,
Mm,
right? So,
yeah.
you know, like how most men react if you get
Yeah.
emotional, right? Like I
Yeah.
had a boss, all I used to have to do was cry and he would give me whatever I wanted. Just anything to stop this emotion coming out.
Yeah. That's interesting. That would be so cool to talk to somebody like, in depth about stuff like that. Because I remember when I was married to Tom, he would go play, hockey, and he would come home after hockey, and he would be so jacked up on
Um,
testosterone, like he would just
yes,
want to like wrestle me. Do you know what I mean? Like he just
yes,
and he just was in this mode,
right.
and he would say like, I'm sorry, I'm just still like all pumped from playing hockey.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so that always kind of stuck in my head, like their hormones versus our hormones. But
Right.
the bottom line is, like, if a woman went out and killed somebody because of hormones, then that is obviously very wrong, and they shouldn't do that. And it's the same for the men's hormones. Like, you got to learn control, like
But picture that. So, Tommy playing hockey, that whole hockey team, right? So picture them out at a party drinking,
yeah,
and there's a woman there and she's drunk,
yeah,
and all of a sudden, I'm not saying Tommy did this, of course, all of a sudden it's a gangbang,
yeah,
right? Because they feed off of one another that way,
yeah, that too. Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
like this
yeah,
hazing scandal that's going on right now in Nova Scotia with the hockey league. I don't know the details of it, and I really don't want to, but it's to do with sexual abuse,
yeah,
sexual
of course.
assault as part of a hazing. Like
Yeah,
this is what they do. They do to one another,
yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
wow. You know what? It must be hard being a guy. I don't know.
I don't know. So yeah, I'm tired of it all. I don't,
Yeah.
I mean, Tom and I used to have arguments all the time because I don't know if you remember back in the uh, late 80s, early 90s, there was on the radio, there'd be this little clip where it was this woman and she's like, men are pigs. Do you remember that on Q104? Um, yeah, so there'd be a little clip about whatever a man, some behavior of a man, and then she would just go, men are pigs. And Tom used to hold that over my head. If we ever got in a fight about something, he would say, you're a man hater, just like all other, women, because back then, but
Oh,
it was kind of the start of women calling out men and their behavior.
right.
And it was kind of made fun of in this clip,
Yeah.
but a lot
Yeah.
of it was real, but it really played on his in particular, and probably most men in that era, on their um, male fragility, like
Mm,
their
mm,
egos. And I worry for the next generation because
mm,
they're becoming so they're being fed so much misogyny online, and I don't
mm,
know why um, these young boys are turning into such trashy men. Like
mm,
they want to suppress women again, and like we're in a
mm.
war. I really
Yeah.
feel that
Yes. I
we're in.
agree 100%. It is a war. It always has been, but
Yeah,
now we have the voices.
yeah,
Now we're speaking out and now we're taking some action, I guess. I don't know how much, but yeah, absolutely. I hate a gender war. I think it's
yeah,
awful.
yeah,
Like, why does it have to be this way? But the pendulum, right? The pendulum has to swing.
yeah,
And I just hope that one day it settles down a bit. Maybe
yeah.
we should inject each other with the opposite hormones. I should take some testosterone and a guy should take some estrogen or something.
I don't want testosterone.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes I think maybe it would toughen me up a little bit. I wouldn't be so wimpy.
How much? Who can be tougher than women? Look at all this, you know?
They can't have babies,
No. And look at all the shit that we've lived through and we're still here. We're still like 50% of the population. How did that happen? Because
right?
just through
In my
sheer,
grandmother's day, or my great grandmother's day, most women died in childbirth.
yeah,
Like that, and babies, was a high mortality rate too. But yeah, we've been murdered and
yeah,
beaten and
yeah,
enslaved, and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There's so much against us, and yet we're still here. And
And
that,
think about the strongest people they're
yeah,
probably women, right?
yeah. I don't know a strong man, to be honest. Like, and I mean strong. I don't I don't mean just physically or surfacely emotionally. I mean, I've been through so much shit and yet I'm still a good person, strong.
Hmm.
Like strength that I just don't know any man like that. It's sad
It's
to
sad.
me. Like to me, that was always my dream, um, to be married to a man that was strong. And that did not mean I wanted, like, to be a trad wife and that to have a man that, you know, made all the decisions and disciplined me when I wasn't behaving or, kept me in the kitchen. That's not what I see as being a strong man, right? I mean, a man that is so secure in their emotions and secure in their themselves that they can be that strength you need when you need it. So I don't know, I've just never
I
met.
think they exist. I think there's, you know, I mean, my Jamie is a good man, but he does have some limitations as well. But I think there's some really good men. I
I'm
do.
sure there is, I've just never met them.
Well, my dad was pretty good too, but my mother would say, a little emotionally unavailable. So
Yeah,
they're not
your dad
perfect.
was, oh, I mean, your dad, I don't, I think I could probably count on my hands and toes how many words he said to me in all my life that I've been, around him. He was a man of very few words.
Indeed, he was. Well, he was tired most of the time, but
Yeah.
yeah, in his, I got no light now. Look how dark it is in here. I In his twilight years, he became a lot more vocal. Can you
Yeah.
see me now?
Yeah.
So I wanted then to talk a little bit then about things that we can do and have some good responses. So I know I had sent you Dr. Cindy Brannan's article there that she wrote about if a witch can't hex, she can't heal.
Yes.
And I wrote down a couple of things. So one of the things that she said was highly emotional witchery is difficult to control and often fails. And and then in favor of it, that's just like a little warning, like don't get too
Yes.
over the top. And then she said, viewing hexing as evil is yet another way to limit power, especially the feminine.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. I just, yeah, because one of the things when I was a kid, I always used to think, geez, I wish I was a boy because none of this shit would be happening if I was a boy, right? But now I'm like, I would not want to be a man because then I feel like your friend who transitioned, something happens with that hormone that kind of blocks you from your spiritual power. Do you
Oh,
know what I mean?
okay.
Unless you, I think they have to work harder for it. And I do
Mhm,
believe
mhm.
that there's a lot of men in the spiritual world, but when you look at how many men are in that witchcraft and that kind of thing, how many of them are gay because they have more estrogen in their bodies?
Yes,
You know
yes,
what I mean? I'm,
yeah.
I'm not, again, I'm not saying it's like that for everybody, but I'm just saying I think it's a a bit of a barrier that men would have to work harder for. So to
Mhm.
me, being a woman, having estrogen, progesterone makes me, in my opinion, spiritually stronger than any man and
Mm.
and more powerful. And I feel like that power, nobody should tell me, not Gerald Gardner in the whole Wiccan tradition, not
Mhm.
anybody should tell me that I can't use that power to counteract something evil, um, or to protect myself, or like I just, no, if I feel like this person, I wouldn't do it willy nilly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is not
Mm-hmm.
something I'm just like, um, oh, that person at work pissed me off, so I'm going to send them a curse. No,
Mm-hmm.
that's stupid. But
Mm-hmm.
if somebody is threatening me, or if I feel like I want to make a poppet out of an orange, and you
Mm-hmm.
can figure out what that means, right? Or a
Yes.
Cheeto. If I want to use a Cheeto and stick some pins in it and
Yeah.
send some curses, I have
Yeah.
no problem with that because frankly, they deserve it. So,
Yeah.
so, and a lot of people are like, oh, the what you send out comes back at you. I don't agree with that in a sense
No,
because
I've never liked that one.
what if what I'm sending is what I'm sending back what they sent.
Mm-hmm.
So what if I'm the karma lesson? What if,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? So I just I just feel like it's a check and balance kind of thing. If they're being shitty people, then I can counteract that. And um and I just don't necessarily believe that love is enough, you know? I
Mm-hmm.
I yes and no. I'm always on the fence with that one. Like to send love to a person in counteraction to their shit. Mm,
You have to be that person though. If you're not that person, it doesn't mean that you're wrong,
yeah,
right? Like there's some people they just radiate love, and that's where their power comes from. Um, but I just think that we've been told to be good girls for so long.
yeah, yeah,
Don't make waves, listen to the man, just, grin and bear it. I'm really so over that. But
yeah.
I'll tell you something that I feel is evil people are also protected. I can't always get into their, I can't break through their aura.
Hmm.
So I can feel that sometimes when I'm trying to deflect somebody, or I'm trying to push something back on them. I can feel that barrier. And I remember a story that a couple of my mentors had related, and it was when Saddam Hussein was executed, and they decided, I don't know what possessed them. They decided they wanted to contact his spirit and see if he had um, realized anything on the other side. So if he had, you know, come to the light or whatever.
Right.
So they did whatever they did to reach out and contact him. And what they were met with was such malevolence
Uh,
that they had to back off
right. Huh.
because there was no conversion on the other side.
Yeah.
That the force of evil that was his physical person carried over.
Yeah.
So you can't always love and light
Yeah.
something away if that
Yeah.
person, if that's their personification, if that's their whole being, is
Yeah.
to be like the orange Cheeto does. He does not care about love and light.
No.
Nothing is going to penetrate that.
No.
So what can we do to smash the patriarchy? What can we do to stop the misogyny? You just got to protect yourself,
Yeah.
your daughters, your loved ones, your community. Just do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Don't, and that ripples out. I'm not saying it doesn't have an effect, but you have got to start here
Yeah.
and not be so obsessed with, like if he was going to be stopped, witches would have stopped him already.
Yes.
But for whatever reason, his karma or his purpose in life is to cause all this chaos. So I can only mitigate what's around me and try to keep my reactions from going chaotic.
Yeah.
I don't want to feed into that.
I remember reading somewhere that um, I can't remember. Somebody said if witches were real, then why is Trump still here, right? And the person responded, "You don't think that he's not using a black magic or occult magic or any of that to protect himself? Like he too is probably surrounded by practitioners of the occult." Um, and one could argue that that's Christianity in disguise, uh, or it's disguised as Christianity, I should
Yes,
say.
yes.
Um, but yeah, he's like, and they said like and evil people have evil magic too.
Yeah.
Like evil. There's evil
Hmm.
physically and there's evil in the spiritual
Hmm.
world. And the only way to get rid of it is to abolish it, to like banish it. So that's why I think hexing, cursing, um, spells are good for. They're good for that. Like trying to banish it completely. And I think
Hmm.
that's what's interesting about Christianity and Catholicism having hell, because hell is basically a place where, in that lore, is where evil gets burnt to nothingness,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? And or purgatory it gets purified in the fires. So I think
Hmm.
there's an understanding that the only
Hmm.
way to get rid of it is to banish it, to burn it, to get rid of it. Like, yeah,
Interesting. So you think of that more so than a place of perpetual punishment. Like I'm going to hell because I was a bad person and I'm going to be perpetually tortured. You're saying it's more of a place of banishment.
yeah. I think it's been bastardized, I guess,
Mm.
in the interpretation. But I think
Hmm.
I think the original intent of hell was to actually banish.
Another dimension maybe because I believe in vibration, right? Like evil has a vibration,
Yeah,
right? So I'm vibrating here, evil's vibrating down here, and as long as I keep up here, I'm good. I don't want to go. I don't want to go down to their level. So when Cindy said, viewing hexing as evil is just another way to limit power, I I can be powerful in my vibration. I
hmm
don't need to go down to that level. But that's apples to oranges. Is two totally different things. Um, if I'm doing a hex or like a freezer spell or some sort of protection or a pop it, whatever, I'm not operating at that level. I'm
right,
not on that low vibration. And that's where I got tripped up
right,
many podcasts ago, was thinking that if I was doing that, I was lowering my vibration
right. Yeah. And why don't you think you're lowering your vibration now? What's the difference?
because I'm mad now. But I'm seeing the sides, and certainly Cindy's article helped me a lot to understand that, um so her archetypes that she refers to, like Hecate and Medea and Circe,
Yeah,
you know they've been sort of twisted and bastardized
yeah,
into being evil, or
yeah,
hags, or the whole thing that we always talk
yeah,
about, reclaiming crones and hags.
yeah,
um they did what they had to do in
yes,
a world that was dominated by men.
yeah,
And so you might think that what some of these earlier goddesses and mythological women did was bad, but that's the male perspective. Of course they're going to think that
yeah, yeah,
killing their abuser was evil.
yeah, yeah. And that's, that's kind of the point that I had earlier, is that, being a female and we have certain powers, at least more readily available to us than men do. And that one, to me, is the spiritual realm, the witchcraft, also giving birth, like we are life givers. So,
Mm-hmm.
these are powers that men don't have easy access to. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, for me, we should use that. That's where our strengths are. So use it. Like, don't be afraid to use it. And yeah, and like you said, if it's hexing, and a man is like, ooh, that's evil, or even a woman might even say that, oh, that's evil, or you are,
Mm-hmm.
just going down to their level, then um, no, that's where our power is, and anger is a powerful force, and you know,
Absolutely.
feminine rage, like we're seeing that a lot, being said right now, feminine rage. Well, yeah, that's another power that we have. So use
Yeah,
it, right? Let's,
absolutely. I
yeah,
and really the only times that I have felt powerful is when I've been enraged,
yeah,
when I've just reached that limit where I am done with
yeah,
this BS. And
yeah,
now I'm going to impose my intention. Now my wants and needs are going to be front and center. And that's when I find I can manifest really well.
mm,
I can get stuff done on the spiritual level as easily as I can when I'm doing, love and light kind of stuff, lighting a candle and all that kind of stuff. So, before we close, I just wanted to maybe go over a couple ways that people like women or, anybody who's marginalized, regardless of gender, what they can do
mhm,
to take back their power and maybe deflect some of this crap.
mhm.
Did you have anything to offer there?
Um, well, again, I think back on the tarot readings, because it's so this reading really, really speaks a lot to me, because it's so methodical.
Mm,
Each card. So at the beginning, it was telling all of us that we need to do our research. We need to.
mhm,
So I think getting information and making sure that it's true.
mhm,
Don't make any assumptions. I think educate yourself. And the other thing was taking a stand, or making your position clear. So once you educate yourself, once you make a decision on where you stand, now you're starting to feel some actual empowerment, right?
mhm,
I think
mhm.
so. I think
Absolutely.
so. I think these are just mundane things you can do,
Mhm,
right? On the mundane level, these are things that you can do. You can do your research. You can make a stand. Um, you can question things, like, uh, and when you get to a point where you feel like you have your answers, and you know the truth of things, um, then that's up to you what you want to do on a mundane level with that information. But on a spiritual level, I I think, you know protection spells, these are all basic things, like, protection spells you can do. Um, there's so many protection spells out there. Like, it depends on what speaks to you. You can put salt around your property. You can create your own, bubble, through meditation. There's so much you can do, and that's so
mhm,
easily, you can easily find that on the internet, right?
mhm,
Um, but I guess I I think that's a good thing to do, but I also feel like it's important for me. It doesn't have to be for everybody, but for me, I also want to take action
Mm-hmm.
on on the spiritual realm. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, I haven't done it yet because frig, I don't have time a lot of times. But like I do want to do like poppet spells and that kind of thing. And I also sometimes on just an everyday level, if I'm awake at 3, 4 in the morning, which is pretty much every day,
Mm-hmm.
I'll speak to a goddess or my ancestors and I'll
Mm-hmm.
say, can you just please make this stop? Please, like, I don't know, guide me or do something on your
Mm-hmm.
side. Like, and I'll tell them what what I need um, for the world to be a better place. Like, can you
Mm-hmm.
just stop these rapists and can you stop Trump and can you stop like all the friggin' neo Nazis and like you know or guide me as to what I can do. So I talk a lot to my spiritual guides, I guess, or
Mm-hmm.
my answer. I don't like the term spiritual guide. It sounds so new agey, but like my ancestors or a goddess, like I'll talk to my hell goddess or even Lilith because
Mm-hmm.
she's somebody you don't really want to fuck around with, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like she's absolutely a goddess that is against the patriarchy. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I'll just talk to them because I'm awake and I have the time and the shit's on my mind in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a an easy thing you can do, and I don't think it's a waste of time. I think they
Mm-hmm.
listen. I don't know what they do with it, but I like to think that they do something.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I think it's always like it's two-sided. Like you get something out of it as well as getting your message, right? Like it kind of gets your angst out a
Yeah,
little bit too, right?
yeah,
Yeah, so I had written down a lot of people like the freezer spell
yeah,
where you write down the name of the person you want to stop their action. So you want to freeze them. So you
yeah,
write it down, put it in a little baggie with some water and stick it in the freezer,
yeah.
leave it in there till whenever. And then when you're done with it, flush it, bury it, whatever. But the other one people like to do is writing it on a piece of toilet paper and flushing it down the toilet,
Yeah,
which I find funny. What I love, something that they do at the Bide Wild shelter every Valentine's, is you can write in and ask them to write somebody's name on one of the kitty litter pans.
oh,
So somebody that done you wrong or an old boyfriend or whatever, and they write it on the kitty litter pan, and then the cats poop all over it, and then,
oh my
and then they
God.
throw it out. Right? I just
I
love that. Isn't that
I love
hilarious?
that too. If
It's
my
quite a popular thing.
I bet if
Yeah.
my cat litter wasn't so gross, like how the plastic breaks down, I would do that. In the next new cat litter box, I'm totally doing that. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I like those spells, but to me it feels too temporary. And I think I almost feel like it's somebody who's afraid that is going to have have that energy bounce back at them. That so to me, I just I want to burn them until they are
Hmm.
completely permanently gone.
Hmm.
And I just don't worry about the consequences of that. I don't. I
Well,
just
it is about intention, and
yeah
anything that is I think a strong feeling that comes from deep within you. It can't, how can that be wrong? As long as we're not leading from a place of ego or, a place of un, unauthenticity.
Inauthentic.
Innocence. Look, it's getting late.
Inauthentic, isn't it? Inauthentic.
Unauthentic.
Anyway,
Okay, great. Anyway, you know what I mean.
yes.
So, just getting back to what Cindy said, right? Like, if you're all over the place, then your spell might be all over the place. You really got to focus your
Hmm.
intention in it, any
Yeah.
magical working, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, do what you need to do to get into a good headspace, you know, with some sacred smoke, candle,
Yeah.
just set up your little space and just do what feels right to you.
Yeah.
And when I'm angry, you won't always know because I get quiet. Like I get really calm and really focused when I'm really super angry.
Hmm.
And I love that because that's when like the bull comes out, right? Like the bull when he's charging is single-minded focused, right?
Hmm.
And you might be standing there with a spear in your hand, I'm coming at you.
Hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And for you, Aries with the ram, your head down, you're coming charging in too, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's use our superpowers.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, yeah. I think, I think a lot of the work needs to be done on the physical realm, but also on the spiritual realm because it exists on both
Yes,
planes.
100%.
I I don't know. I just find people don't necessarily believe that, and I don't know why. I don't know why because I just feel like there's there's darkness in the spiritual realm as well as
Hmm.
light, and
Absolutely.
um, yeah, and I think to be a witch is to be. I think I posted this on Instagram one time. I said, my belief in witchcraft is just feminism with flair. That's what I said, right? Because that's I feel like you can't be a witch and not be a feminist.
Mm.
But so that'll bring me on to my other sort of internet controversy is the mega witches.
Right. Yes.
Because I don't know, I don't understand how you can claim yourself to be a witch and be a Trump supporter, to be a
Mm.
mega supporter. It
Hmm.
just does not work. I don't care what they say. It doesn't work because
Right.
witchcraft has always been used by women to get out from underneath oppressive men, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
They didn't do it just for, and I'm talking about like the actual spellcraft and cursing and hexing. They did that
Hmm.
because of patriarchy, basically. So um, to say you're a witch and to be a Trump supporter does not work. And I would say to them, you are not a real witch. And a lot of people would take offense to that because
Mm.
who can say who's a real witch or not? Well, I'm saying if you're a mega supporter, you are not a witch because
You're
you're
you're drawing the line.
I
That's where
am
your line is.
I
Yeah.
am because to me that's what witchcraft is. It's women using their spiritual powers to get out from underneath oppressive assholes, and men in particular. Um, and um, if you think you can do both, you're wrong. You're just wrong. And
Yeah.
and not only that, but apparently the mega witches are very inclined to using like hoodoo and voodoo,
Mm.
and they're white.
Mm,
Like,
mm-hmm.
so that's a
Yeah.
closed practice, right? Like,
Yeah.
so they have no regard for
Of
that.
course
They
not.
like, I'm sorry, but no, you're not a real witch. You're a poser. You're just in it for the aesthetics and the shock value of
The
your,
shock value.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Bragging rights,
yeah,
whatever.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just it's bullshit to me. And a lot of, a lot of real witches are very mad about that, very,
Hmm.
very mad that they exist. And they'll comment on, you know, witches Instagram accounts or whatever, and it's like they'll get blocked. They'll just block them because they're just like
They're
idiots.
just trolls, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I
I'm glad
just,
that's not in my algorithm. I think my tiny head would explode. But
yeah,
anyway, we definitely will continue this conversation about smashing the patriarchy and empowering one
yeah,
another and speaking out. And you know what? Rage if you want to rage. I'm so over a man telling me not to be emotional
yeah,
because my emotion is my power.
yeah.
But watch out, like I said, watch out when I get quiet because I'm about to charge.
Yeah, I guess I make a lot of noise when I charge, but arms are flailing and yeah. But I really look forward to doing the readings because each card
Mm.
kind of gives you the next sort of step in how to do the fight, but also on a spiritual level. Like it's really interesting. Um, and there's points of self-care because it's a battle. We're in a battle right now, and we need to have
Absolutely.
we need to also take care of ourselves. And
Yes, please do. Please do.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's a good reminder to everyone, to go back and rewatch your January, February,
yeah, March.
March.
Yeah, yeah.
March.
I
Please,
know.
please end.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm over it. Anyway, all right. So that is a little over an hour. So
Okay.
I know it
Yeah,
goes by
I
when
know
we're
it does.
when we're waxing patriarchy.
Yeah.
Awesome. So as always, we appreciate everybody's comments.
Yeah.
And anytime you have a suggestion for any comment you'd like us to talk about, we're always willing.
Yeah. Yeah. I like just impromptu ideas and stuff. That's what this
Yeah,
one was. So that was good.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
And thank you, Trish.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right. Good night,
Okay.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.